Good morning, everyone. I'm myself Amit, and I welcome you all back to my channel Escalate Academy, educating India in a lucid way. We are discussing questions of OPPSC, OP Odisha Public Service Commission examination, and this was a paper which I already told you in part one. Here we will discuss next 45 questions, and we have already discussed first 245 questions in paper one, and now we will be discussing next 45 questions. So you can see the pattern again. This is of 2015 examination, and time allowed is for 3 hours, and maximum marks for this paper is 180 marks. Okay, and this is civil engineering paper number 1 for assistant executive engineer examination. And so guys, let's start our lecture, our next questions. We have already discussed 35 questions, so I am skipping the starting 45 questions. We will discuss the next 45 questions, and let's see. We have already discussed 45th question. Now we will discuss 46th. Let's see what is the question. Most common method of pre-stressing used for factory production is. As we know that for factory production, the method which we use is this system of modules is known as Hoyer system. This is known as Hoyer system, and which is also known as long line method, and this is also called as long line method. Hence correct answer is B is the right answer for this question. Okay, so let's see the next question, that is 47th. Which of the following losses occurs only in post-tensioning? We know that it consists of two types of tensioning. First one is pre-tensioning and other is post-tensioning, and the losses which occur in pre and post-tension are shrinkage of concrete occurs in both pre and post. Elastic shortening of concrete also occurs in pre and post, but this is loss due to friction. Loss due to friction, this type of losses occurs only in pre-stress. So guys, correct answer is which occurs in loss of friction occurs in post tensioning. So correct answer for this is option C is the right answer, that is loss due to friction only occurs in post tensioning, and creep of concrete is a loss which occurs in both, that is pre and post both. So guys, in which of the following losses occurs in post tensioning only? This is a type of friction loss which occurs in both the stress and which occurs in post tensioning. Okay, let's see the next question, 48th. Minimum reinforcement in a circular column as per IS 456/2000 is, that is, it is greater of 0.8% of cross sectional area and 6 bars of 12 mm diameter. Hence the correct answer for this is D is the right answer for this question. And if it have mentioned if the column was rectangular, then the number of bars was 4, that is on each corner we provide a bar in rectangular column, and if there is a circular column, then we provide 6 numbers of column at all the corners. Okay, so these are the minimum number of bars which we provide in square column and in a square column and in a circular column. Let's see the next question, 49th. The vertical retaining wall of the RCC counterfort is designed as. This type of wall is designed for cantilever, as a cantilever. Hence correct answer is A is the right answer for this question. Let's see the next 50th question. When the width is given as B, effective depth is D, and the overall depth is capital D, the maximum area of reinforcement in RCC beam shall not exceed. This the correct answer for this is maximum area for reinforcement is 0.04 B into capital D. Hence the correct answer is B is the right answer for this question. Let's see the next Let's see the next question. This is I think repeated. Let's see this 51st question. In T-shaped RCC retaining wall, the main reinforcement in the stem is provided on. In a main stem, it is provided on the inner face in the one direction. The main reinforcement is provided on the tension side, and the tension comes on the inner face in one direction. Hence correct answer is C is the right answer for this question. Let's see the 52nd question. If the nominal shear stress tau V exceeds the design shear strength tau C, the nominal shear reinforcement as per IS 456/2000 shall be provided for a shear stress equal to, so as per according to IS 456, a nominal shear reinforcement is provided if tau v exceeds tau c, then nominal shear reinforcement will be provided for tau v minus tau c. Hence correct answer is C is the right answer for this question, that is the nominal shear reinforcement will be provided for the value of tau v minus tau c. Let's see the next question, 53rd question. As per IS 456-2000, the minimum grade of concrete for the design of reinforced concrete structure in moderate exposure condition. Now here it is mentioned as moderate exposure condition. For moderate it is equal to M25. Hence correct answer is B is the right answer for this question. But we will study about mild also. For mild we use as M20 concrete is used, and for severe condition we use M30 grade of concrete is used. And for very extreme, if it is given as very severe, then we use as M35, and if it is given as extreme, for extreme condition we generally use is M40. So guys, in here the order which is mentioned is exposure condition, which is mentioned is moderate. Hence correct answer will be to M25, that is B is the right answer for this question. Let's see 54th question. In reinforced concrete footing on soils, the minimum thickness at the edges should not be less than, as we know that for minimum thickness, the for concrete footing, the provided, this is the concrete footing, and for this the effective cover which is provided is of about 75 mm effective cover is provided. Hence so if we take the effective cover as 75 mm, then the minimum thickness at the edges should not be less than, it should be equal to 150 mm, that is, hence A is the correct answer for this question. Now let's proceed to the other question, that is 55th. Here the question given is the span to effective depth, let's just see it, span to effective depth ratio for a two-way continuous slab up to span of 3.5 meter with steel grade which we are using is Fe 415 should not be more than. Now if for continuous slab and for span up to 3.5 meter, we can see that and if we use a steel grade of Fe 415, then for first let's study for if we use Fe 250, that is if mild steel is used, then for simply supported this value is about 35, and for continuous slab, if continuous slab, this value is 40. Now if we use for Fe 415, if we use Fe 415 grade of steel, then the values above are multiplied by 0.8. Values of Fe 250 are multiplied by 0.8. So now if we multiply it for simply supported beam, it will give as 35 into 0.8, and for continuous slab CS, that is continuous slab, we will see it will be 40 into 0.8. Hence correct answer will be 32, that is D is the right answer for this question, because it is given as we have to use iron steel of grade of Fe 415 and continuous slab is being used. Hence correct answer for this question is D, that is 32 is the right answer for this question. Let's see so guys, the questions which we are discussing here are not only important for OPSC examination, but these are also important for other examinations like UPPSC AE and other state engineering services examination, and also the J level examination which are soon or sooner to be conducted. So guys, it is very important, you must watch it from beginning till the end. So 56th question will be the cross diameter of a rivet is H is equal to the diameter of hole, that is hole diameter, that is rivet hole represents the diameter of or cross diameter. Hence correct answer is C is the right answer for this question. Let's see 57th question. The maximum permissible slenderness ratio of tension members liable to reversal of stresses due to the action of wind and earthquake. Now you can see that if there is a reversal of stresses due to action of wind and earthquake, So the maximum slenderness ratio of tension members which are subjected to, let's see. Firstly, if members carrying compressive load resulting from dead and imposed load, if there is only dead and imposed load, then the slenderness ratio value is 180. Then if secondly, this is for the first reason, and second reason is members subjected to compressive load resulting from a wind or earthquake force. When only wind or earthquake force is taken into account, then the value of maximum slenderness ratio is 250. Here I should write this is for dead load. Dead load we take as 180, and for wind or earthquake load we take it as 250 maximum slenderness ratio. And for members subjected to axial tension, these are value are for members subjected to compression. And now the value is for members carrying axial tension but subjected to reversal of stresses. Now here comes reversal of stress. If there is reversal of stress, then this value becomes 350, and this is for tension, when the members carries tension. And the last option is only for tension member. The value of maximum slenderness ratio is 400. So these above two values are for of members carrying compressive load, and these are values are for members carrying tension. Hence, for here we can see for maximum permissible slenderness ratio for tension members liable to reversal of stresses. Now for tension members liable to reversal of stresses, the value is 350. Hence the correct answer is B is the right answer for this question. You can see B, that is 350 will be the correct answer. Let's see the next 58th question. The maximum deflection for a steel beam as per IS code should not exceed. Now the maximum deflection as per IS code should not exceed span upon 325. That is 1 upon 325 of span should be the correct answer. Hence C is the right answer for this question. Let's start the 59th question. The average shear stress in a member calculated on the cross section of unstiffened web shall not exceed. This shall not exceed how much? This shall not exceed as 0.40 Fy. Okay guys, in shear the maximum permissible value is 0.4 Fy, and in shear maximum permissible value is also equal maximum permissible average value is 0.44 Fy, and maximum permissible value is 0.45 Fy. So this is maximum permissible value, and this is what? Maximum permissible average value. Okay, so these two are values different. The term average has, where the term average has been added, then the value is got reduced. It is equal to 0.4 Fy. Okay, so and in bending, if they asked in bending, then this in bending it value is 0.66 Fy, and in axial tension and compression this value is 0.6 Fy, and in bearing, if the bearing action they are asking, this is equal to 0.75 Fy. Okay guys, so I have already I've told you about these values when these values are taken into account, so you can see it. Next, see the next question, that is 60th question. Generally the purlins are based at the panel points so as to avoid. Purlins are just provided in order to such that bending, they can resist bending moment in the rafter. Hence correct answer is D is the right answer for this question. Let's see the 61st question. The yield stress of mild steel of normally rolled structural steel is about. Now the yield stress is how much? That is for 61. The yield stress is, this is equal to 250. Answer, that is that yield stress lies between 250 and ultimate stress lies between 410. Yield stress, I will write it. Yield stress is equal to 250 MPa, and ultimate stress, this is equal to almost 410 MPa. So correct answer will be, it will lie between so they have asked about yield stress, so this value lies between 250, so it lies between 240 to 260 in between. Hence right answer is A is the right answer for this question. Let's see 62nd question. The effective length of fillet weld should not be less than. These questions are very important and they have been asked several times in many other competitive examination. So guys, you should remember these values perfectly, and you must try to solve these questions before I solve it for you, so that you can remember the times when you will be asking. So you will remember the exact value when you see that value in the question paper. So guys, for the effective length of fillet weld should not be less than, please tell the answer in the comment box if you know. But I will be telling you, it is definitely, you can pause it and just write the answer in comment box. After pausing it, I will tell you the correct answer, and the correct answer is, this is equal to 4 times the effective 4 times the weld size. See, okay, so the correct answer is, effective length of a fillet weld should not be less than 4s, that is 4 times the weld size. Let's see the next other question, 63rd. The rolled eye section for a given subject for a given depth having largest moment of inertia IXX is designated as, this is equal to ISHB, that is Indian Standard Heavy Beam. So correct answer is ISHB is the right answer. ISMB stands for Indian Standard Medium Beam, and ISLB stands for Indian Standard Light Beam, and ISWB stands for Indian Standard Wide Beam. So I have told you the full form of all the other. Let's see the 64th question. In a plate girder, bending is primarily resisted by. In the plate girder, we know the bending is primarily, most probably, resisted by, this is resisted by B, that is flanges plates only. Hence, in plate girder, bending is primarily resisted by flange plate. Okay, so you must remember this, flange plate resist bending. Okay, so guys, next is and yes, web resist shear. Web plate will resist shear, you should also know this, and flange plate resist bending. This you must be clear, and there should not be any doubt in your mind regarding this. Let's see the next question, 65th. The effective length of a steel compression member which is effectively held in position at both the ends but restrained in direction at one end. This value comes as 0.8 L, hence B is the correct answer for this question, and where L is the distance between the point of inflection. So now see the next question, 66th. The addition of pozzolana to Portland cement may cause, addition of pozzolana reduces the initial rate of increase in strength. Okay, it will reduce the initial rate of increase in strength, hence correct answer will be A, that will, it will decrease the early strength of if added to say Portland cement, hence correct answer is A is the right answer for this question. 67th question, let's see. The two main compounds imparting strength for ordinary Portland cement are, basically the two main compounds which impart the strength for ordinary Portland cement are tricalcium silicate and dicalcium silicate, hence A is the right answer for this question. Tricalcium silicate and dicalcium silicate together constitute about 70% of cement. Tricalcium silicate and dicalcium silicate, they constitute about 70% of strength of cement and are responsible for providing most of the strength to it, as C3A is responsible for flash set. We know that C3A, tricalcium aluminate, is responsible for flash set, and C4AF generates very less strength, it generates less strength. So these are the values which you must consider it and you should know it. Let's see the next question, 68th. For a satisfactory workable concrete with a constant water cement ratio, increase in aggregate cement ratio. If we increase the aggregate cement ratio, then the strength of concrete will definitely get decreased, hence correct answer will be A is the right answer for this question. That is, if we increase the aggregate cement ratio, so it will decrease the strength of concrete, strength will get reduced, hence correct answer will be A is the right answer for this question. Let's see the next question, 69th. The strength of concrete is directly proportional to, the strength of concrete is directly proportional to what? as we know that the strength of concrete is inversely proportional to water cement ratio. We know that the strength of concrete is inversely proportional to water cement ratio, hence it will be directly proportional to cement water ratio. So if they have asked that the strength of concrete is directly proportional to, so the correct answer for this will be, it will be about cement water ratio will be the correct answer for this question. Let's see the next 70th question. The most commonly used admixture which prolongs the setting time. The admixture which prolongs the setting time is gypsum. That is B is the right answer for this question. Let's see the 71st question. In ordinary residential buildings, DPC may be provided. DPC is provided at the plinth level. Hence, for 71, D is the right answer for this question. DPC is nothing. This is but damp proof course. The tolerance, next question, let's see. The tolerance in the width of a mold of a class I brick is equal to plus minus 6 mm. For length this is 6 mm, for width it is 3 mm. Hence if we see here they have asked width, so in width it is plus minus 3 mm, and correct answer is A is the right answer. But if they have asked about length, then the correct answer would have been 6 mm. Okay, let's move forward to the other question. The slump recommended for mass concrete is about. Now this question is also very important. I will tell you the major slump values for various types of concrete. For road construction, this value slump lies between 20 to 40 mm, and for beams and slabs, this value lies between 50 to 100 mm. For mass concrete, if we use the mass concrete, then this value lies between 25 to 50 mm. And for impermeable work, this value lies between 75 to 120 mm. So these are the values which are generally asked in various examinations. You should remember this. Here they have asked for mass concrete, so correct answer will be for mass concrete lies between 25 to 50. And correct answer will be B will be the right answer for this question. Let's see another question. While moving forward, let's see the most important purpose of frog. Frog is nothing but you can see in the brick. This is a brick which you see here. The tag name of the brick company is being written, and this is basically because to form a key joint between the brick and the mortar. So C is the right answer for this question. Let's move on to the next question. That a type of bond in a brick masonry consisting of alternate course of header and stretchers is called. This bonding is called as English bond. Hence, correct answer is A is the right answer for this question. Preventative maintenance for a building work means. Preventative maintenance for a building work, it definitely means taking action before the breakdown takes place. Hence, 76 A is the correct answer. Slenderness ratio for masonry walls should not be more than 20. Hence, correct answer will be B is the right answer for this question. Okay, for brick masonry, the value of slenderness ratio is generally taken as 20. So the adopted value is B is the right answer for this question. Then expansion joint. Expansion joint in a masonry wall is provided when length of the wall is greater than. When length of the wall is greater than 40 meter, then we generally provide this. Hence, correct answer is C is the right answer for this question. Now the height between two floors is given as 3 meter. Risers are 150 mm. Assuming 2 flights is between the floor, the number of tread will be. The number of trades is equal to 3000 upon 150 minus 1. This is equal to 19, and number of risers is equal to 3000 upon 150. This is equal to 20. So in this question they have asked the number of threads. So number of threads is 19, hence the right answer is B is the right answer. The type of flooring, now the other question. Type of flooring suitable for use in theatres and public libraries and other places where noiseless floor covering is desired. This is cork flooring. One of the main disadvantages of the bar chart for construction management is that it does not show the interdependencies of the activity. Hence, D is the right answer for this question. Which of the following does not represent an activity? Site location does not represent any activity. So correct answer is B. Critical path method is activity oriented. Hence, correct answer is A is the right answer. Some problem in my throat. Security deposit deducted from contractor's bill is refunded after maintenance period is over. So D is the right answer. Earliest finish of an activity is always, if the options you can see, earliest finish of an activity is always less than the earliest event of the following node, greater than the earliest event of the following node, or less than or equal to the earliest event of the following node, or greater than the or equal to the earliest event of the following node. So right answer is less than or equal to the earliest event of the following node. 86. The next question is, contract is an agreement between, this is an agreement between two parties which are valid in the law. Measurement of 50 mm thick concrete flooring will be done in, if there is a concrete flooring, so it will be definitely be done in square meter. Hence correct answer is D is the right answer for this question. The reduction in project time normally results in, this value results in increase the direct cost and decrease the indirect cost. A document contains detailed description of all the items of work together with their current rates is called as, this is called as analysis of rates. That is A is the right answer for this question. Now let's see the last question. Work breakdown structure for a construction project will help in, this will definitely help in breaking the project into several elements. Hence A is the right answer for this question. So guys, here we have completed the complete paper of Odisha Public Service Examination. And do watch our video, and please do like and share and subscribe our channel.